What is actually happening in our society? And why is the complete collapse of celebrity stability that we just saw being ignored by everyone? Have we truly reached the lowest point where even the most combative, jewel-encrusted rap icons are sobbing in public? The tape that just surfaced on the dubious parts of the internet has surprised the entire business, so you should lean in and pay close attention. Cardi B, who literally made a name for herself as the loudest, fiercest, and most unconcerned person alive, was recently captured on camera in a condition of complete psychological ruin. We are talking about the kind of primal, ugly crying fit that makes you forget about the red carpets and fancy bags. And the reason is that it's the one thing that no one anticipated. Music, the internet wasn't simply crashed by Stefon Diggs. He broke the story. He eventually emerged from the shadows of the supposed boyfriend tag and made a marriage announcement that was so breathtaking, unexpected, and profoundly combustible that it completely changed the history of their turbulent romance in just one evening. Was this a deliberate attempt to divert attention from the turmoil in his own career? Or is this the last chance for healing for a lady who has experienced more public betrayals than we can count? Screams have replaced the whispers. The hidden castle recordings are coming to light. And tonight, music, we are revealing every single tear-soaked detail of the pledge that has completely shocked the entire planet. Is this the most costly era in Hollywood history, or is it just a fairy tale? You won't believe what transpired while the cameras were purportedly off, so stay put. No one could have predicted the depth of the probe into this insanity. And we must examine the extreme degree of manipulation that has been taking place behind the scenes of this entire relationship in order to comprehend the seriousness of these tears. Cardi B has been scrutinized and examined by millions of people for her whole life. Wished for her to fail. However, neither the supporters nor the detractors applied pressure this time. It originated from the oppressive burden of a hidden life that was gradually choking her. According to sources, Cardi B has been juggling the responsibilities of her enormous profession with the emotional instability of a partner who refused to offer her the one thing she truly desired for the past 6 months. The degree of calculated coldness Stefon Diggs displayed prior to this revelation is enough to make your skin crawl. He has been playing a high-stakes game of emotional chess with her heart. According to insiders in her inner circle, Cardi B was affording a lifestyle that most people could only imagine, while being effectively tricked into thinking she wasn't deserving of a serious commitment. We are discussing tales of offshore accounts and hidden properties that raise the possibility that this marriage reveal is more about a financial merging than true love. The extravagant expenditure that has been observed recently wasn't only decorative. It served as a diversion from the relationship's internal decay. According to reports, Stefon Diggs was searching for a business partner with a large platform to help repair his own damaged reputation, while Cardi B was out there searching for her soulmate. Even their closest friends were unable to identify who was telling the truth due to the extreme corruption in this group. There are leaked messages from unnamed assistants stating that Cardi B was basically pleading for Stefon Diggs to show her some type of public respect while he was out here living it up like a bachelor on the road. Stefon Diggs allegedly used his influence to keep Cardi B in a state of continual doubt in order to maintain control over her public image, which was a startling abuse of power in this relationship. The public's responses, on the other hand, have ranged from puzzled celebration to absolute horror. While some on the internet are applauding her and claiming that she has finally received her crown, some skeptical researchers are highlighting the coincidental timing of this breathtaking disclose. Why right now? Why now, when both of their careers are under intense scrutiny? It sounds like the actors in music were unaware that they were being shot for a scripted reality show. The entire Candlelit Castle sequence was rehearsed 3 times before the leaked tape was even recorded, according to one fictitious source who worked on their most recent project. If that's the case, there was more to these tears than just relief. They discussed the weariness of trying to live her own life for a society that won't allow her to live in harmony with it. Who wouldn't be mesmerized by a royal setting and a man on one knee? The castle itself is a masterwork of trickery. However, when you remove the layers of the gold leaf wallpaper, you discover a lady who was driven to her breaking point by a man who understood just which buttons to push to get the desired response. According to sources, there was so much tension before that evening that you could cut it with a knife, and Cardi B had genuinely intended to. That same weekend, leave him. With her lawyers on fast dial and her luggage packed, she was prepared to put an end to the charade once and for all. However, professional playmaker Stefon Diggs chose to throw the ultimate Hail Mary after seeing the writing on the wall. He was aware that the only thing that could stop her from leaving would be a marriage vow. And it was successful. It was so successful that she fell into his arms in a heap of unadulterated emotion that everyone is currently fixated on. But is it a trap or a victory? According to the investigative findings, legal agreements that would grant Stefon Diggs unparalleled access to her brand and revenues under the pretense of marital unity are currently being drafted. Music. This goes beyond a wedding. It has to do with a purchase. The romance of it all is driving the fans insane. People are examining the spreadsheets while the actual players are referring to it as a fairy tale. However, it appears more like a high-level corporate takeover when you consider everyone's past performance. We need to consider how much of our own compassion is being used for views and clicks. Music. Cardi B's anguish was genuine, and so were her tears. However, the man who is now professing to be her savior may be the cause of that suffering. Even a marriage proposal is now viewed as a product launch due to the corruption of the celebrity industrial complex. Some commenters claim that Stefon Diggs has finally taken charge, but they don't see the threads being tugged from the shadows. The more we learn about his private existence, the more it appears that this spectacular revelation serves as a barrier to keep him safe from a huge controversy that is about to erupt. We are discussing head-spinning accusations of financial mismanagement and personal betrayals. Cardi B was discovered in. Her breakdown was the one truthful thing amid a sea of lies in the midst of a storm she didn't start. However, the issue is that the same individuals who drove her to the brink are treating her candor with disdain. We recognize the irony of a vow silencing the Queen of Daring. As we go more into the history of this castle meeting, we discover that a production team was stationed right outside the door for the private supper. It wasn't a private time. It was a capture of content. Additionally, Stefon Diggs was obviously playing to the gallery, even though Cardi B may have been in the moment. For a man who is typically so reserved, the manner he held her face and the timing of his comments were all too perfect. Instead of receiving an Oscar for the performance, it became a viral headline. The public is split between people who wish to believe in love and people who know better than to put their trust in a man who has ulterior motives. Every single thing that happened that evening, from the purpose of the pictures of their recollections to the particular music, was to arouse Cardi B's nostalgia and weaken her defenses. Her heart was surgically struck, and the truth itself was the collateral damage. In order to create a brand-safe story that can be marketed to advertisers, we are seeing the whole dismantling of a woman's reality. You can only maintain a faucet of this size for so long before the cracks start to emerge, therefore, the consequences will be enormous. And as we proceed into the next round of this inquiry, those fissures are beginning to show up in the most surprising locations. Let's start with the legal ramifications that are presently developing behind closed doors. However, the real examination starts when you examine the paper trail of broken promises that initially brought us to this fortress. Because Stefon Diggs has a track record of concealing his personal life, including his music, behind a titanium curtain. We are discussing a man who has perfected the art of leaving quietly. Nevertheless, he is making the greatest noise of his life right now. In order to comprehend the controversy, we must Back to the months that were missing, when Cardi B was seen alone at events that she ought to have gone to with her partner. According to leaked reports from upscale security companies, there was a significant fallout in late 2025, shortly after their son Brim was born, when Cardi B learned that Stefon Diggs' business travels weren't only focused on football. The investigation has found anonymous allegations from Miami hotel employees who stated that the two were so at odds that they needed separate floors in order to prevent a public fracas. The public's response to these leaked revelations was a mix of intense anger and profound sorrow for a woman who simply wanted to go home. While one fan noted that Stefon Diggs was more interested in his free agency status than his family status, another stated that they were sick of watching Cardi be misled by her own loyalty. The controversy intensified when a number of phony screenshots surfaced, alleging that Stefon Diggs had referred to Cardi B as a bad luck charm for his business endorsements and a distraction from his work. Despite Stefon Diggs' ultimate admission that these posts were ridiculous, in the court of public opinion, harm had already been done. After he was found not guilty in a high-profile legal issue involving his private chef, people started to wonder if this new marriage revelation was really a publicity trick meant to preserve his reputation. The corruption and abuse of power truly come to light in the specifics of that judicial dispute. This is the kind of headline that destroys endorsement agreements and ruins legacies. A multimillionaire athlete accused of assault in a salary dispute. The Castle Plan, according to investigators, was a calculated attempt to change the media's focus from legal issues to romantic heroes. Consider the timing. As soon as the verdict is announced, a video of a sobbing Cardi B being promised forever is leaked. The Hollywood playbook's oldest ploy is this one. Make use of a woman's sincere feelings to cover up a man's dubious actions. There have been rumors circulating inside the Patriots organization that Stefon, if Diggs wanted to land a huge new contract for the 2026 season, he was under tremendous pressure to improve. Then there's the extravagant spending that has everyone in a daze. Reports of a $500,000 deposit made to a posh jewelry store in Paris a few days prior to the Castle rendezvous have been confirmed. Here's the worst part, though. The money allegedly came from a shell business connected to a group of foreign investors rather than Stefon Diggs' main accounts. This is a huge red flag. Music are outside parties funding this union in order to capitalize on the Cardi B and Stefon Diggs music brand. No one wants to fall down the black pit of celebrity financing corruption, but the evidence is right in front of us. We are discussing a relationship that is not being viewed as a love connection, but rather as a diverse portfolio. According to the fictitious investigative results, even Cardi B's joke about the royal toilet in the video was a part of a compensated sponsorship agreement with a high-end home brand that ultimately fell through. Minute. A group of social media administrators are said to have carefully chosen each adorable remembrance photo that surrounded them in the room so that the lighting would hit their tears at the ideal angle. You start to question whether anything in their universe is genuinely real anymore because of the level of deliberate detail. As individuals begin to see the contradictions in their accounts, public responses have shifted from congratulations to inquiries. According to one source, minutes before the emotional breakdown started, Cardi B was allegedly spotted fighting with a producer. Internal leaks from Cardi B's own camp are already beginning to show the effects of this manipulation. The gap between those who want her to be happy and those who believe she is being exploited as a pawn in a much bigger game is widening. According to reports, some aides quit because they were unable to cope with the degree of secrecy and the non-disclosure agreements that were imposed on everyone who saw the reality of that evening. Power abuse doesn't end at the pair. It also applies to their employees, who are being intimidated with threats of legal action and hush money. The sound of gentle music and the aroma of pricey candles disguise this poisonous atmosphere. Music, as the repercussions intensify, it appears that the government may even become involved. There are rumors that these celebrity unions' financial structures will be investigated to see if they are being utilized for money laundering or tax avoidance. The authorities start to pay attention when this much money is being transferred through private ceremonies and castle rentals without a clear paper trail. Because Stefon Diggs' career is at a turning point and he needs a huge victory to remain relevant, the financial crises inside his inner circle are also a significant influence. If you are cold enough to pull it off, using Cardi B's more than 100 million followers as a safety net is a brilliant idea. Fans' doubts are at an all-time high, and they want to see a marriage license rather than simply a vow. They are making the point that in the world of celebrities, a pledge is worth about the same as a screen grab of a post that has been removed. With rumors of Cardi B's next album, the music industry is also feeling the consequences. Music in order to coincide with the wedding news cycle, the drama's premiere date has been rescheduled 3 times. Every embrace is a headline, and every tear is a stream in this masterclass in synergy. But at what price to her real mental well-being? According to the investigation, Cardi B has been acting more reserved and introspective, not because she is at peace, but rather because she is beginning to realize that she may be imprisoned in a golden cage. Music, this revelation will have long-lasting effects since it creates a risky precedent for the handling of celebrity relationships. We are witnessing the emergence of a contractual romance in which each milestone is a prearranged music event with a guaranteed return on investment. Should Stefon Diggs and Cardi B truly reach the altar, it will be beneath a mound of legal documents that take advantage of her power and safeguard his assets. The truth will eventually become too loud to deny due to the growing public response. A boycott of the companies making money off of this phony love music is already being called for, and the tension is building toward a huge explosion that might end both of their careers. This takes us straight to the legal nightmare that is taking place in the background right now. Because the attorneys are keeping an eye on the time while everyone else is watching the romance. There are rumors of a 200-page secret prenuptial agreement that covers everything from social media mentions to infidelity penalties, so severe they could bankrupt a small nation. Corruption of the heart is one thing, corruption of the law is quite another. We are witnessing a system in which a woman's tears are just another line item on a budget sheet, and the truth is sold to the highest bidder. As we approach the last phase of this, today, we are going to music to find out exactly who wins and who loses when this castle's lights eventually go out. The repercussions from this marital revelation are causing a level of pandemonium that Hollywood has never witnessed. Thus, the legal nightmare referenced in the background has now moved from the shadows of the castle into the harsh light of reality. As people become aware of how much of the music was staged for a viral moment, we are witnessing a complete systemic collapse of trust inside the inner circles of both the sports and music sectors. The 3-part major body of this scandal has been revealed by the inquiry to be more than just a romantic transition. Rather, it is a full-scale legal battle being waged behind closed doors with powerful lawyers and private investigators. A possible federal investigation into the foreign commercial interests associated with Stefon Diggs and his investment group, which were purportedly directed through Cardi B's several lifestyle brands, is the subject of numerous reports. The corruption is so widespread that it involves several tax havens and shell corporations that were used to conceal the real source of the funding for the castle that we saw in the movie. If this is accurate, the promise of marriage was a binding contract to combine assets and protect Stefon Diggs from an impending financial probe. Music fans feel deceived and like puppets in a high-stakes game of white-collar crime when this kind of power abuse occurs. Every brand connected to the pair is seeing a decline in stock prices as a result of the consequences, as investors expect a significant public backlash if the entire details of the castle production are made public. At the top levels of their management agency, there are already discussions about potential resignations since no one wants to be left in the dark when the fraud is discovered. We are discussing a complete financial catastrophe that might lead to the freezing of their joint accounts and an investigation of each and every endorsement contract they have signed over the past 2 years. Tension is rising in anticipation of a huge explosion that might lead to criminal prosecution of individuals who fabricated the marriage vow. As information leaks, public responses are changing from bewilderment to outright indignation. According to records, Cardi B's emotional collapse was actually brought on by her understanding that she was legally bound by a contract that she didn't fully comprehend. According to sources, she was offered a loyalty contract that, in exchange for his commitment and security, effectively gave Stefon Diggs authority over her future profits. This is the ultimate betrayal of Cardi B's hard-won image of female empowerment. Cardi B was crying because she understood her freedom was being traded for a headline, according to an unidentified whistleblower, not because she was happy. According to sources, Stefon Diggs' colleagues no longer respect a man who would utilize his personal life to influence the media during a contract year. This revelation is also having an impact on the sports world. His effectiveness on the field and his worth as a free agent may be impacted by rumors of a locker room rift and a decline in morale. Fans are demanding that he be barred from some stadiums until he comes clean because of the intense public outcry over his role in the financial scam. The world is witnessing the complete collapse of a once untouchable brand in real time. In the meantime, the covert event that was meant to be a romantic turning point is now perceived as a last-ditch effort to obtain spousal privilege in order to avoid testifying in court. You only see this degree of legal scheming in films, but it is taking place in front of us. The question of whether the private proposal was a meeting between two legal teams to finalize the elements of a prenuptial agreement, basically, a non-disclosure agreement on steroids, is being investigated by investigators. Anyone who believes in justice and the truth is insulted by these high-profile celebrities' perversion of the legal system. According to the fictitious sources, Cardi B has been spotted meeting with an entirely other group of attorneys in an attempt to uncover a weakness in Stefon Diggs' pledge to her. According to reports, she is afraid about the financial consequences and the possibility that Stefon Diggs' legal issues could harm her brand. Ironically, the very safety she was pleading for is now being used against her. The danger of a multi-million-dollar breach of contract lawsuit silences her every time she attempts to speak up. The world is beginning to notice the bars of her own golden cage. In order to avoid being linked to an impending scandal, other musicians are distancing themselves from Cardi B, causing a significant backlash in the music industry. Fans who are fed up with the incessant manipulation and bogus news are cancelling collaboration agreements and threatening to boycott her future tour. It is a serious financial crisis that is spreading like a virus throughout her entire enterprise. Music, the queen of daring, is currently the queen of controversy for all the wrong reasons, and it's unclear if she will ever be able to regain her reputation. With hashtags like Cancel Stefon Diggs and Cardi B Deserves Truth trending worldwide, the public's responses on social media have become a virtual battlefield. Transparency and an end to the PR romance era, which has dominated the news for far too long, are demands from the public. Everyone who consumes celebrity culture should take note of the fallout, which serves as a reminder that beneath the glamour and the emotions is frequently a cold, calculating corporate machine. As the world gets ready for this house of cards to finally collapse, the stress and expectation for the next leak are at an all-time high. The influence on the industry as a whole must be taken into account when examining the possibility of a government investigation. There is more than one couple involved here. It is about the corruption that permits these tales to be based on false information, as well as the entire celebrity industrial complex. The financial mishandling that has been exposed is sufficient to cause a significant overhaul of the way these transactions are organized and overseen. Every significant figure in Hollywood and the sports industry will be affected as the Stefon Diggs Cardi B crisis serves as the impetus for a new era of responsibility. The inquiry has discovered that the event may have violated federal law because the castle utilized in the video was actually owned by a controversial character who is currently subject to international penalties. This raises further legal risks and implies that the pair is more involved in the shadowy world of celebrity financing than anyone could have predicted. The blatant abuse of authority and contempt for the law reveal a level of conceit that is genuinely startling. In the era of digital forensics, how do they think they could get away with something this significant? Experts Musica point out that the grainy video quality is actually consistent with professional equipment being used to simulate a spy cam look, so the reports of leaked footage are also being closely examined. This indicates that the entire vulnerable time was a high-production movie sequence intended to increase engagement metrics and manipulate our emotions. It's difficult to comprehend the degree of cynicism needed to pull off a scam like this, but it's a fact of our viral economy. While the real players are laughing all the way to the bank, we are being fed a diet of contrived drama and artificial emotions. As more people become aware that they were duped into feeling sympathy for a scenario that was bought and funded by a marketing department, public outrage is reaching its zenith. As the world ignores the pair, the tears of relief are now being ridiculed in memes and parody films. There is complete fallout, and the effects will last forever. A controversy of this size damages the one thing a celebrity needs to survive, the faith of their audience, so there is no turning back. As their sponsors start to employ morality clauses to end their contracts, the final investigative findings indicate that the couple is about to face a severe financial crisis. In just a few weeks, we could lose tens of millions of dollars in revenue. The legal repercussions of this spectacular marriage revelation are only getting started, and it has become a spectacular financial catastrophe. Two of the largest names in the world will be completely dismantled as the investigations progress and the truth is revealed. This leads us to the last section of our exposé, when we witness the ultimate price of this deceit. Music, money, and celebrity are not the only factors. In a society that values the viral over the authentic, it is about the loss of human connection. A new kind of celebrity scandal has made Cardi B and Stefon digs its face. One that is characterized by the complete lack of truth. The world is finally prepared to switch the channel, and the fallout is a catastrophe of their own making. Now that the investigators have completed their work, it is done.